Good day, everyone. Bonjour à tout le monde. So you're with Nomaza and Zandile, the founder of Undiscovered Canvas. And today I'm making you discover one of my amazing artists, that is Zandile Tshabalala. Hello, Zandile.
How are you?
I'm good, sister. How are you?
Yeah, Pila, thank you.
Excellent. So tell us, you are currently coming from South Africa. And South Africa started to lockdown also last week, I was told. How is that affecting you as an artist? Are you working currently? Are you at home? Are you in the studio? Are you producing? What's the situation like?
Okay, so been quarantined before lockdown. I've managed to bring some works at home to work from home because I couldn't really work in my studio because my studio is based on campus, and unfortunately campus had to close down. So I've been working from home. I've managed to grab as much as I could from my studio, a few canvases and materials. So I've been trying to be productive within the time period that we've been given.
And in terms of creativity, how is it for you? I mean, because you were literally taken away from your normal environment and now you are put it into someone would think that, for an artist to be completely isolated, that's what you artists live for. But is that the reality for you at the moment?
I mean, working can be a bit stressful because it's like a house that is full and we constantly need to be together and within the house all the time. So it has been a bit stressful initially, getting back into my flow. And I think I had to pause a bit and really just try to put myself together. And now I'm back on it. I don't know, I feel like right now it's such a good time to make use of what you have and what you have. So the little space that you have and the little medium that you have, you need to make the most out of it. And that's what I've been doing.
Okay, please, for those who don't know your medium, can you please tell us more about your path as an artist? Who are you? Where do you come from?
Okay, so I am a painter. I prefer to identify as a painter because it's been one of my longest dreams since I was a young girl. I wanted to be a painter, and I've been privileged and honored to be in the position to be a painter. I prefer to use acrylic, or I use acrylic at most. Also because one of my faves uses it, and I'm like highly influenced by the person, which is Carrie James Marshall.
Oh.
I do use yes, definitely. I use some oil paints here and there for larger scaled works because I need to spend a bit more time as opposed to smaller scaled works. And sometimes I put like some different elements, like maybe I'll have like jewelry within the piece, or I'll have like sculpted rocks that I make mostly out of tissue. So yeah, like playing around with it.
And can I ask you, is this the material that you think that you'll be using for a very long time, or do you think that you're going to incorporate some other forms of expression using other materials within your work? Are you still in that sphere of exploring what is possible for you to transmit your message through?
No, definitely. So in terms of like my works, I think even in the long run, I'll probably still do painting. I would like to learn and master acrylic and how to really blend well in all these different techniques with acrylic. And then over time, I would like to get into sculpture. I think one of my favorite artists from South Africa, Nandi Pamtambo, she does.
Yeah, she's amazing.
I really do see my figures as these life-size sculptures that people can engage with and walk around and touch and get to experience some of my ideas and thoughts in person as opposed to just being on canvas.
Be on canvas. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to share a page of some of your paintings, and as I do so, I would like us for you to go through the method. Because quite frankly, in your work, representation is everything. The topic of representation is the core of your works. And the fact that you are also your own muse within your works. As I'm going through the paintings on the attached document, can you please tell us more about your thought process as you're producing?
All right, definitely.
Voila.
All right. Here we have here.
Let me see if I can
Should I
up. Let me go up. Let's start from the top.
Okay.
Okay, can you tell us more about your works here?
All right. So the first figure, well, the first two figures are actually one of my recent paintings that I'm currently doing now. They're right behind me also. So I know, I feel like because with my new body of work, I was starting to think a bit more about topics about rest and this moment of just taking a moment to really know yourself and be in touch with yourself and everything. And I think that it was the perfect time to expand on that and to work a bit more on that, because now we're being forced to sort of like be with ourselves. And so I decided to do this work, and I feel like I haven't fully like, what's the word? I haven't fully like understood or figured it out. It's a bit like yes, but like I really was reflecting and thinking about how the themes that I was thinking about exploring have sort of like manifested in my life, and now I'm like sort of like pausing and I'm like resting. That's all I'm doing, sleeping, and you're waking up and you like repeating. And I decided to capture that moment. Now start to explore or learn Photoshop. Since I have so much time in my hands, it would be great to now learn other things. And I decided to explore Photoshop, and that's why we have the two me's and the figure in the painting, which have photoshopped together. So I think it's such a perfect time for me to learn and explore.
As well.
So yeah, I was just really just learning something new and incorporating it in this topic and theme of rest that I'm very interested in.
And presentation, can you tell us more about that?
By representation. So I feel representation for me is such a big deal, because looking at historical paintings, as I've mentioned a couple of times before, Black women were represented in a particular way, and that particular image still is in our minds today. And that way is that of like being a servant, or being a slave, or being in the background. And I think we've internalized that. And I was talking or thinking about how even today at my house, sitting down is like a luxury. Like we always feel the need to consistently be busy. And I was thinking about how, because of that, how painting enforces this also, because we have paintings of women, of Black women in those. And today we still have that mentality that a Black woman needs to be a particular way, and there's all the different aspects about them are sort of like ignored. So I think in my works, I sort of rebel against a representation that has been set of me, and I start to now indulge or dive into different things such as sexuality, leisure, rest, imagination, and everything else about me that is not really included in the representation of women.
When you talk about that, obviously I'm also from South Africa, and what you're saying hits so much, because I grew up in an environment whereby my father, well, he still is a preacher, and that image of my mother always being she needed all the time all the time to be there for my dad, all the time to be there for the elders of the church. And it was the same thing with everyone around her. And I remember growing up and looking at that image and thinking, I don't want to be that person, that woman. As much as I loved my mother, but I didn't like how she'd been reduced to. Are you also coming from that? Is it something that you saw growing up? It's not only in the paintings, but also culturally, the environment. Are you also picking up from that space, space?
I think that this notion of like the servants and this like servitude and consistently feeling the urge to serve and be domesticated. I do see that, and I do experience that to a certain degree. I mean, at my house we clean every day, and I always wonder, why are we cleaning every day? Like, can we just rest a bit? Can we just pause a bit? And you start to feel like guilty for just sitting, you know, like how do you feel guilty sitting? Because it has been internalized and it has been passed on generationally. It's okay, no, you need to get up and do something. You need to find something to do. And I was just thinking, you know, honestly, the person that I am, I do know how to work, and I do like, to a certain degree, like working, but it's not every day. I don't want that to be my life. I'd hate to work so hard in life only to just have that aspect about me play off for the rest of my life, like be a domesticated and serve all my life. Like there's so many things that I'd like to explore. And I think being the person that I am, like I'm highly imaginative, I'm highly this, I'm highly that, and I think that needs to be explored too, you know. Like I like to dream, I like to explore, I like to experience, and I think it's very important for me to put that down for my audience to also experience.
In your paintings, as I said, you are also your own muse, but there's something about them. Earlier on, you're talking about sexuality. The figure is so proud. You know, there's so much dignity in the figure that you are always painting, and you can feel that not somebody who's just powerful, but also even sexually. I'm looking at this painting here on the left-hand side where she's on her back, and also this one here, the shortest in your eyes, the bold colors that you use. Well, we're African women, and most of the time, you know, sexuality has never really been, we've always been hypersexualized as being, that's a fact. But it has never come to a point whereby we've been thought of as being able to be, you know, wanting to be pleased and wanting to please ourselves sexually in that manner. And I'm finding this woman to be very much so sure, confident, and can you tell us, am I reading the words right? Or what is there?
Definitely. So with regards to the muse, I think initially when I started my first painting, which is the one at the top with the leopard print, it was more of like an affirmation to myself and to visualize myself as the woman that I'd like to be, or as the woman that I see myself as, which is a very confident woman, a woman who accepts what other people say, yes, but does not internalize it. Like she knows herself so much that she knows what she's capable of, and she knows what she can do. Well, that's the same thing. But like, yeah. So I think that, I mean, struggle is present in most of our lives and in my life, but I don't think that's something that I'd like to depict and immortalize for the people who come after me. I like them to look at my paintings and sort of like gather strength from them, you know, like this is like something to look up to, and to hopefully give you your own confidence back, and to say, you know what, it's okay to be this person that you are, and you should be proud of the person, be very unapologetic about it. That's why my paintings are very bold and in your face and unapologetic. They are what they are. They can be sexual, and that's like a choice thing. They in the process of exploration, you know, like my figures exploring themselves. And I think in turn, having to, while I'm consistently like painting myself again and again and again, this is also me exploring myself and exploring my imagination, my desires, my own sexuality, and affirming, and I'm living that also to a certain degree. Yeah, that's pretty much it, I think.
You're quite young, Zandile. How old are you?
I just turned 21 in February.
I can literally tell you, when I was 21, this was not going on in my mind also, because also with the years, obviously South Africa has opened up more and more. And I feel that, you know, the youth of today, especially those that are between 30 and 20, they've had way much exposure than what we did, because at 21 I was definitely not too exposed to even to think the way that you're thinking in terms of owning myself, owning my identity, and also owning my own sexuality. Is this something that is now becoming a norm in South Africa? Can we honestly say that now women between this age branch are really owning up? I'm asking you this because we know that there are so many issues when it comes to domestic violence, women that have been killed in South Africa. And I always believe that, you know what, if a woman knows her value, there are good chances that she would have the tools to be able to leave a relationship that is extremely abusive. But we see that in South Africa, that is still something that is huge. Where do you see this generation, and where do you see your work playing a role in that?
Okay. So firstly, I'd like to point out my privilege, one, of having access to social media and what that has done for me also. So I've been exposed to, you know, my generation, the generation of influencers, you know, as we know it. We see women who are consistently building themselves and who are bring themselves up and who celebrate themselves, and through social media that sort of like spreads, and the next person is influenced, and the next person is influenced. How they deal with that is completely each their own, really. It's completely up to them. So for me, what I picked on by through like being consistently on my phone and exploring and being exposed to these women is that it's very important to celebrate yourself, and it's important to know yourself. And you know, we live in the age of everyone is preaching self-love and self-this and self-that, but how we deal with it is very different. For me, self-love is allowing myself to be myself, to be unapologetic, and to be fully in touch with myself. I'm not saying that I am fully in touch with myself, but I'm in the process of doing it, and I'm very unapologetic about it. There are things that I know about myself, and I'm like, okay, this is Zandi, and then that's okay, and I'm comfortable with that. And I think I'm grateful for my exposure to media for that, because it has built my own confidence. And then in terms of like our generation, my generation is very confident, I must say. We have a lot of extremely confident women, and I think that, I mean, it is good, as you said, because we want more women to understand their value and to understand that you don't have to be where you don't want to be. You don't have to be the person that you don't want to be. And I think not just women, but also men, you know, you don't have to be who you don't want to be. You don't have to be where you don't want to be. And I feel like it's going to take time before the message spreads to everyone. Not everyone has the luxury of social media and the phone and being influenced and doing that and doing that. But I think for me personally, in my own household and with the people that I've had around me, I've noticed a change in that. You know, they see that I'm very passionate about my dreams, and I'm consistently fighting for my dreams, and they see my paintings and they see the way I depict myself, and in turn they like, okay, you know, like I see my girl, she'll probably just sit a bit, she wants something, she wants to do her nails, and I'm like, yes girl, that's how it should be, you know. Like, you need to calm down a bit, and you need to remember all the dreams that you had and every desire that you had as a young girl, even now as a more woman, and be okay with that and be in touch with that. And yeah, I think I am seeing the impact in my household, and I hope it also exists around.
Excellent. So before we close off, girl, you know that I do run the Undiscovered Canvas Art Residency in France. And I wanted to find out from you, where do you see yourself being? What are the cities, since we're all locked down?